on this call on Q&A after the Hangout. You can get invites to our open calls, which we offer about once a month, and our free letting go process by going to the loaclub.com. So now we are going to welcome Robin, who will be bringing Tara through for us today. So over to all of you guys. Welcome.
Welcome back to our discussions and our 4-week challenge. As we've been doing during this challenge, we'll take just a short time for this formal portion of our call today so that we can interact with all of you who have experiences to share. But as this challenge has progressed, as we watch you trying out new processes and finding what works best for you, we want to remind you up front here of the 2 fundamental choices you can always make. And before we state those choices, we want to encourage you into an awareness frame of mind. We want you to notice what you're thinking. So just let yourself get quiet here for a minute. Now, notice how you feel. Now, notice what you're thinking about. Notice how these words are landing. Notice what you're thinking about these words. Notice that you can think about things, and at the same time you can also watch yourself thinking about things. We call that being on the field and in the stands at the same time. Good. Now, to the extent that you can, allow yourself to be in both places as we proceed here. Because today we want you to experience the power of intentionally choosing new ways of thinking. We'll begin with something fundamentally important to know about both of these choices. And we suggest you let these words sink in. Here we go. These choices have nothing to do with the circumstances in which you have placed yourself. In other words, in any given moment, these 2 choices have nothing to do with the events that preceded this moment. Therefore, these are choices you can make any time. And these are huge choices, because the more you make them, the more you will transform your world and your life. And so we say, make them now, and now, and now. We say make them anytime you find yourself feeling a little off your path. And as you practice making them, they become a thinking habit. They become who you are. They define you. Choice number 1 is choose to feel good. And if you're feeling good, rejoice in that feeling and then choose to feel even better. And if you're feeling bad, make a choice to feel good. Perhaps for some reason you can think of, or simply for no reason at all, because here's the truth of it. You don't need a reason. You can think of something good and use that as your excuse, but you don't need an excuse. You can simply choose to feel good for absolutely no reason at all. Let's try this right now. How do you feel right now? Think about that on a scale of 1 to 10. Now choose for no reason at all to feel better. We'll give you a moment here. Try it. Can you see that you can do that? There are many different ways of describing this. For example, if the fact is that your glass is half full, it's equally half empty. How you feel about this is a choice. You can choose to be grateful that it's still half full and that there's always more where that came from. You can choose to see it as half depleted and feel bad that there's only some of it left. The facts are the same. The thought is what's different. And that difference is not just some sort of unimportant philosophical predisposition towards being optimistic or pessimistic. The difference is the difference between creating what you want or what you don't want. As we said up front, it's huge. We say, think differently. Also, for example, as we often quote from commandment number 4, thou shalt not beat up on thyself. Sometimes the beating up is subtle. Think about that exercise we just did. Were you able to achieve a shift? And last time you tried to meditate and focus on making a change, were you able to get your mind to be quiet? And if not, did your thoughts in any way go to, I can't do that? Well, yes, you can. And if you didn't, then allow the glass to be half full with, next time I'll get there. And that thought feels better. And so there you are. You're already feeling better. And here's what's truly significant about that. Next time you will get there. That simple choice pre-paves your future. Choice number 2 is, choose to expect what you want. The perennial, always valid question is, what do you want now? So as an exercise with us here right now, pick one thing that you want but don't have. Now think about your probability buckets. Impossible, or improbable, or possible, or probable, or certain. Which bucket is it in? And now think about why you have it in that bucket. You'll find that you have a whole story about that, or even many stories about that. And they all begin once upon a time, because they're all about your so-called past and all about being so-called realistic. But to be truly realistic and call a spade, all of that is nonsense. They're all fairy stories. So as in the bucket process we have shared with you, you can move it up the line and see how that feels. Or, here's a wild idea, you can play with that so-called past of yours until you settle on a train of events that will most easily get you to where you want to be. And then you can practice that until it becomes your real past. Or, as some of you are doing, you can use the Abraham focus wheel process to ease yourself toward a different set of expectations. Or you can devise your own process. Or, and here's the interesting part, as with choosing to feel good, you can simply make a decision to expect something different, for the simple reason that you know you can. And if you can't quite know it now, know that you're getting there, that you're getting better and better at this, that each day you're stepping more fully into the awareness of your connection with Source and the power that you have. How much power do you have? Well, we're going to tell you how much, but watch where your mind goes when we say the following. You could choose that tomorrow the sun will rise in the west. Now, where did your mind go? Was it to the impossible bucket? Was it to how on earth would the world look like if that happened? Think of it this way. Perhaps this will open a door for you. When you wake up from a dream, you inherently know that this world you've re-entered has different rules than in that dream world you just left. You have different capabilities, which you just know are normal and natural. And so it is with choosing a new expectation. As you step into that new world, it doesn't feel like you've done something impossible, because once again, you inherently know that the rules and your capabilities are different. It feels normal and natural because it's aligned with the truth of who you are. Can you see where we're headed with all of this? We are nudging you awake from that dream you call reality. We say, always choose that better feeling thought. Use any excuse on the planet to choose that better feeling thought. And if that doesn't seem to work, tell yourself that at least you're acknowledging that all of this is a big deal, and let that feel good. If you choose to, you can always find a better feeling thought. Know that. And know that it feels good to know that. So once again, here are your two big choices. You can choose to feel good, and you can choose what to expect. These two choices have fundamentally nothing to do with the circumstances in which you have placed yourself. In any given moment, these two choices have nothing to do with the events that preceded this moment. And also, once again, these therefore are choices you can make any time. They are huge choices, because the more you make them, the more you will transform your world and your life. And so we say, make them now, and now, and now. We say, make them anytime you find yourself feeling a little off your path. And as you practice making them, they become a thinking habit. They become the new you. That difference is the difference between creating what you want or what you don't want. This is your life. We say, think differently. So now let's move to our longer discussion, where we'll invite you to share your thoughts on all of this.
This Hangout on Air was the summary of our theme for the week. Just a reminder, we do three live calls a week with Q&A for our members on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. You can become a member by going to the loaclub.com/join. So now we are going to continue our discussion of our 4-week challenge and be running around the room and go over to our member conference line to do that. So back over to you, Robin and Tara, and I'm going to open up the phone lines here. So if you have any noise on your lines, please make